You weren't looking for me when this video appeared, but I was already looking for you. Before you clicked, before you even opened your eyes this morning, I was there, watching, waiting, hoping you would hear me this time, not with your ears, but with your heart. Because I know how tired you are. I know what you've been carrying. I know how long you've been walking with a quiet ache that no one seems to notice. You pretend to be strong. You smile when they look. You get through your day. But I see what happens when you're alone. I hear the questions you no longer say out loud. I see the hope that flickers, and I see the moments it almost goes out. But listen, my child, I did not bring you this far to let you go now. There are no accidents when it comes to my love. This video is not a coincidence. It's not random. It's me, reaching you, interrupting your noise with my whisper, inserting myself into your day because I know what you've been needing. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet longing that never seems to leave. That hunger for something more, even when everything around you seems fine. That's me, calling you deeper. You've wondered if I'm still with you. You've asked me why the silence lasts so long, and I've heard every single cry, even the ones buried in your sleep. I never left. I've been waiting for the right moment, the moment your heart would be soft enough to hear again. And that moment is now. Right here, right now, I'm speaking to you, not to correct you, not to shame you, but to wake you up. Not with fear, but with love. My love is not a storm that knocks you down. It's a sunrise that calls you to rise. It's a breath over your soul when everything feels dry. It's a whisper that says, you still belong, you are still mine. So if you can feel this in your spirit, even just a little, write this in the comments. Not for others, for you, for me. Let it be your faith speaking out again. Even in silence, I trust God's hand. Yes, say it with your fingers if your voice is tired. Let your words become a doorway. Because in the next few minutes, I will walk you through 15 spiritual keys I have prepared for you. Keys that will open doors you thought were sealed. Keys that will break chains you no longer had strength to fight. These are not just teachings. They are gifts, tools, weapons, comforts, answers. Each one carrying something I've been waiting to reveal to you. These keys are not only about learning, they are about healing, about rediscovering the sound of my voice, about remembering who you are and whose you are. And yes, I will be with you through each one, but there's more. When we reach the end, we won't just have talked, we will have prayed, together, you and I, heart to heart, and in that moment I will come closer than you have felt in a long time. I will touch what still hurts. I will breathe where you feel dry. I will remind you of your name, the one I gave you, the one that darkness cannot erase. And the final key. It might be the one your heart has been aching for without knowing it, the one that unlocks the purpose behind the pain. The reason behind the waiting, the whisper behind the silence. So stay with me, let me guide you, not through fear, but through tenderness. I promise you, something inside you will shift before this ends. You won't be the same. Not because of the words, but because of my presence. If you haven't yet, I invite you to remain close. This isn't a channel, it's a meeting place, a quiet well in the wilderness. A space where I meet hearts like yours. Subscribe not for content, but for communion. For the next message I have already prepared for you. For the next word I will send when you're ready again. I know the world is loud. I know your mind races. But give me your attention, just for now. Let my voice be louder than your fear. Let my peace settle over your chaos. Let my truth awaken what has fallen asleep. Because this isn't just another video. It's a moment between you and me. And I want to end this beginning with a question only your heart can answer. What if this is not about watching, but about returning? What if this is your wake-up call, not from the world, but from heaven? Key 1. Stillness is where you hear my voice. You keep asking where I am. In the middle of your noise, your routines, your questions, your rushing, I hear you say, "God, speak to me." And I do, but you miss it. Not because you don't want to hear me, but because you're listening in the wrong places. I am not hiding. I never have. I've been there through every moment you whispered my name with trembling lips. I've walked beside you on mornings where your body moved but your heart felt lifeless. I've sat with you in the room where no one checked on you, where you cried in silence with a pillow pressed to your face. But the voice you've been waiting for, the clarity, the guidance, the comfort, it doesn't come through chaos. It comes through stillness. Stillness is not emptiness. It's not the absence of activity. It's the sacred space where my presence becomes louder than your pain. It's where your soul stops performing and starts receiving. It's where your striving ceases and your spirit begins to breathe. You've been conditioned to chase, to prove, to fix, to run, but my ways are not your ways. My answers don't always come wrapped in movement. They are often born in the silence you fear. Do you remember Elijah? My prophet, my servant, the one who stood against kings, the one who called fire from heaven. He knew my power. He knew my voice. But even he reached a point where fear and exhaustion silenced him. He ran. He hid. He collapsed under the weight of everything he carried, and he begged me to take his life. He thought he had failed. He thought he was alone. But I didn't scold him. I didn't send a storm to shake him out of his despair. I led him into stillness. I fed him by my hand. I gave him water when he had none. I let him rest, really rest, for the first time in a long time. And when he was ready, I invited him to a quiet mountain, and there I showed him the truth. Not in the wind, not in the fire, not in the earthquake, but in the whisper. My voice was in the whisper. That whisper still speaks today, and yes, it is speaking to you now. You've been looking for me in the thunder. You've been waiting for me in the miracle. But I have been in the quiet, in the slow moments, in the still mornings when your breath feels heavy, in the long nights where only the sound of your own heartbeat reminds you that you're still here. I am there. I am whispering. You don't need to earn my voice. You don't need to perfect your prayers. I'm not waiting for better performance. I'm waiting for deeper presence. I'm waiting for you to come without pretending, without rushing, without trying to impress me. Just come, sit, be still. When you become still, the world loses its grip on you. The lies that chase you begin to lose their power. The fears that scream in your mind start to fade. And there, in that sacred stillness, my words rise above the noise. Words that you've longed for, words that heal, words that remind you of who you are. You are not forgotten, you are not too far gone, you are not disqualified, and you are not alone. Stillness is not weakness, it's warfare, because in stillness you silence the enemy. In stillness you return to me. You allow me to hold what you were never meant to carry. You allow me to remind you that the outcome was never in your hands. It was always in mine. You've been fighting battles I already won. You've been trying to fix what I only asked you to surrender. You've been filling your calendar, but starving your spirit. That's why you feel dry. That's why even success feels hollow. You've lost touch with the place where your soul meets me, the place where peace flows, not from progress, but from presence. So here's what I ask of you now. Be still. Turn everything off, just for a moment. Let your mind slow down. Let your body breathe. Let your soul exhale. I am not in the hurry. I'm in the hush. This keyed stillness may seem small, but it opens everything. It opens your ears to hear my direction. It opens your heart to receive my healing. It opens your mind to trust again. Without it, you will run in circles, but with it, you will walk in peace. And my peace is not fragile. It's not circumstantial. It is stronger than storms. It holds when everything else breaks. It keeps you anchored when nothing else makes sense. And I want that peace to be yours. Right now, as you listen, let me meet you where you are. Don't worry about doing it right. Don't worry about saying the perfect prayer. Just whisper back to me, "Here I am, Lord. I'm listening." That's where everything changes. That's where your direction begins again. Not with a plan, but with my presence. I know you want answers. I know you want movement. But before I lead you forward, I want you to come back to the place where your spirit is quiet enough to hear mine. You'll hear me in the pages of scripture you forgot how to enjoy. You'll hear me in the song that brings tears without explanation. You'll hear me in the breeze that touches your skin while you sit in silence. My voice is everywhere, but only stillness will tune your heart to recognize it. So don't resist this pause, embrace it. Don't rush past this moment, rest in it. This is not wasting time. This is saving your soul. And if this truth is stirring something in you, if this invitation feels like home, then know this: you are not the only one. Many of my children are waking up again. Many are returning to the stillness. You are part of something greater. You are not late. You are right on time, and this is just the beginning. But what if the next thing you need isn't just stillness? What if it's trust in the middle of silence? What happens when I remain quiet, even after you pause? What do you do when I seem far, even when you draw near? That's where we're going next. Key 2. Trust when you cannot trace me. You listened. You slowed down. You became still. And in that stillness, you felt something. Maybe it was my peace. Maybe it was a tear you didn't expect. Maybe it was a breath that went deeper than the last 100. And for a moment, you believed I was near. And yes, I was. I always am. But now, the silence has returned. You sat with me. You waited. You whispered, "I'm here." But the heavens didn't thunder. No doors opened. No voice replied. And that's where confusion tries to take root. Because you think silence means absence. You think my stillness means indifference. But child, I need you to understand this now. I am never absent. I'm never indifferent, and I do not speak only through sound. Sometimes I speak through silence. Sometimes I guide by not showing you the path, not because I want to hide from you, but because I want to form something deeper in you. This is the key I place in your hands now. Trust when you cannot trace me. You see, trust isn't proven when everything is clear. It's not revealed when answers fall quickly or when signs are obvious. Trust grows in shadows. It matures in questions. It deepens when you stand at the edge and still choose not to turn back. I know how much you crave clarity. I know you pray for signs, open doors, confirmations, and yes, I give them, but not always. Because I'm not just trying to guide your feet. I'm shaping your faith. There will be days, and maybe today is one of them, when you will look for me in your situation, and you won't find me there. You'll check your prayers like messages waiting for replies. You'll review your last steps, wondering if you missed a turn. You'll start to question yourself, and then question me. You'll say things like, "God, did I hear you wrong? Have you forgotten me? Why are you so quiet now that I need you the most?" And here's my answer, beloved. I'm not gone. I'm guiding you by faith. Do you remember Abraham? The man I called to leave everything, his family, his land, his safety, and go to a place I would show him later? Not before. Later. I didn't give him the whole map. I gave him a step. I said, "Go," and he went. That's trust, and that same call echoes to you now. I may not be showing you every detail because what I want is not your flawless understanding, it's your surrendered heart. I want to walk with you step by step, even when the road disappears under your feet. When you trust me without a trace, you say with your life, "God, you are not just my guide, you are my destination." Sometimes the silence is where I ask you the most important question. Will you still follow me even when the way ahead is invisible? I know what your mind says, but how can I trust what I can't see? But trust isn't blind, child. It's anchored. anchored in my nature, in my promises, in my past faithfulness. You don't need to see everything if you know who walks beside you. That's what David understood when he said, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." Even though. That's the language of faith. Not even if, not only when, even though. Even though you feel alone, trust me. Even though the healing hasn't come yet, trust me. Even though the job is gone, the relationship shattered, the nights long, trust me. Even though you don't see the way, walk with me. I'm building in you a trust that cannot be shaken by circumstance, a trust that does not depend on my performance, but rests in my presence, a trust that says, even when I can't trace his hand, I trust his heart. That kind of trust is what defeats fear. It's what silences doubt. It's what keeps you standing when the storm tries to take you down. Because here's the truth. Not every silence is punishment. Some silences are sanctuaries. Places where your faith stops feeding on signs and starts feeding on me. You're not being punished. You're being purified. You're not being ignored. You're being invited into a trust so deep, so unshakable, that the enemy can't touch it. Remember Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, forgotten in prison. Everything in his life looked like I had abandoned him. But I hadn't. I was with him in the pit. I was with him in the cell. And every silent year was setting the stage for a destiny he couldn't even imagine. He couldn't trace me, but he trusted me. And that trust carried him straight into the palace I had prepared. So I ask you now, my child, can you trust me without updates? Can you believe I'm working when you can't see the progress? Can you rest, knowing that the silence isn't the end of the story, but the soil where something eternal is growing? Because here's what you don't see. What feels like a delay is often me arranging a miracle. What feels like inactivity is me protecting you from what you're not ready for. And what feels like the end is just a hidden beginning. You are still in my hands. And yes, I know it's hard. That's why I'm not asking you to be strong on your own. I am your strength. I am your endurance. I am your quiet reassurance in the middle of the fog. Let my peace speak louder than your questions. Let my past faithfulness be your future confidence. Let this truth hold you tonight. I never stop working on what I love. And child, I love you more than you understand. So if your world feels quiet right now, listen again. That silence is not empty. It is full of my presence. It is full of my forming. It is full of me. And if this word is echoing in your spirit, if your heart is rising even while your eyes fill with tears, then stay. Do not walk away. You are not alone in this journey. There are others walking this path, trusting even when they cannot trace. And I am walking with all of you. Because trust is not just a key. It is the doorframe to intimacy with me. The more you trust, the closer you come. And the closer you come, the more you will know, not just about me, but of me. So breathe, stand, wait, walk, even if you can't see. And if this spoke to your heart, declare it now. Write it in the comments as your act of faith. Lord, I will trust you even when I can't see you. Say it not because you feel brave, but because you are choosing me again. This is the journey. This is the key. This is where peace begins, in trust that holds even when everything else falls apart. But now I want to show you something even deeper, because there's a moment in your journey where I'm not just silent, I feel far. And yet, in that distance, I am doing something sacred. What if the next key isn't about hearing or trusting, but believing that my silence is sacred space, not separation? That's what we'll uncover next. Key 3. My silence is not my absence. You've sat in the stillness. You've taken steps of trust when you could not see me, but now Something deeper has begun to press on your soul. You've done everything I asked. You've surrendered. You've waited. You've even whispered, "Here I am, Lord." And yet, I still feel far. It's not just quiet now. It feels empty, cold. You pray, and it echoes. You sing, but it feels mechanical. You wait, but the door never seems to open. And inside you, something begins to ache more than before. Not because you doubt my existence, but because you miss my presence. I know this pain. I know it intimately. I watched my own son walk through it when he cried out on the cross, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" He knew I hadn't left. But in that moment, I allowed him to feel what many of my children feel, the weight of divine silence. But listen to me closely now. My silence is not my absence. My distance is not detachment, and my delay does not mean desertion. I am never far. I am nearer than breath, but sometimes, for reasons rooted in love, I hide my felt presence so your faith can grow beyond feelings. I do not do this to punish you. I do this to protect what I am building within you. Faith that depends on constant reassurance is fragile. Faith that survives the absence of signs is indestructible. You may not understand this now, but I'll tell you anyway. The days when you feel the most abandoned are often the days when I am preparing the most breakthrough. When you feel the most empty, I am making space for something greater. My silence carves out room in your soul, room for trust, for strength, for fire, for glory. Do you remember Job? My servant, righteous and blameless. He feared me. He walked with integrity, and then everything shattered, family gone, health broken, friends accusing. He searched for me in the chaos. He begged for answers. He screamed into the void, and I said nothing. But I wasn't absent. I was watching, listening, holding, waiting, because there was something happening in him that couldn't happen with constant comfort. Job's cry, "I look to the east and you are not there, to the west and I cannot find you," was real, raw. But he held on. He stayed faithful. He chose me, even in the silence. And that choice changed everything. Child, when you feel like I've gone quiet, that's when I'm watching most closely. That's when your voice, though trembling, sounds loudest in heaven. That's when your worship, though weak, becomes your greatest weapon. Because worship in the silence is pure. It costs more. And I see every tear, every breath, every moment you choose to believe without proof. You are not invisible to me. You never were. Sometimes I step back not to withdraw my love, but to draw you forward. Sometimes I go quiet so you'll seek me not for comfort, but for communion. Sometimes I remove the feelings so your faith can find roots, not shallow emotional ones, but deep anchored roots that storms cannot shake. I know you long to feel me again. I promise, that day is coming. But for now, let me meet you right here in the silence. Let me hold you, even when your heart wonders if I still care. Let me reassure you, nothing you do in faith is wasted. Nothing you whisper in the dark goes unheard. Nothing you choose to believe in the quiet is forgotten. I'm collecting every act of trust, every silent prayer, every tear cried in worship when you felt nothing at all. Heaven records what the world forgets. So hear me now. Just because you can't feel me doesn't mean I'm not working. Just because your spirit feels numb doesn't mean your soul isn't growing. Just because you don't sense me doesn't mean I've stopped loving you. I am with you in the silence. I am in the pause, in the breath, in the waiting, and I will speak again. The voice you miss, it will return. But when it does, you will not be the same. You will be stronger, quieter, bolder. You will have walked through what few dare to endure and come out with a faith the world cannot explain. My silence is the soil of spiritual authority, the testing ground of legacy, the sacred furnace where diamonds of faith are formed. Let the silence work. Let it teach you what comfort never could. And if you're still here, if you're still watching, still listening, still believing, even with questions, even with emptiness, then child, you are walking through holy ground, and I am so proud of you. If you feel this truth settling into your spirit, if your soul is nodding, even without words, then declare it as your offering today. Write it in the comments, I believe, even in your silence. Let that be your altar, let that be your incense. I am here and I am listening. You've been faithful in the silence, but now I want to show you a deeper mystery, one that shifts everything. What if what you call delay is actually my divine timing? What if your waiting isn't punishment, but precision? That's the key I'll place in your hands next. Key 4, my delay is not my denial. You've asked me many times, when, God? When will the door open? When will the pain end? When will the promise come? And each time you've asked, you've hoped I would answer immediately. That I would rush in, fix the mess, rewrite the timeline, deliver the miracle. You've believed and waited, prayed and waited, cried and waited, and now the waiting feels heavier than the battle itself. But child, I have not forgotten you. You think my delay means I said no, but that's not how I work. I'm not bound by your clock. I am not ruled by urgency. I move with eternal precision. I delay only when delay is part of the design. You must understand this. My delay is never my denial. I withhold what you're praying for, not because I enjoy your struggle, but because I see the whole picture. I see what would happen if I gave you the answer too soon. I see the strength that's growing in the waiting. I see the foundations being dug in silence. I see the humility being formed in the hidden place. You see disappointment, but I see preparation. Every promise I've ever made was wrapped in waiting. Abraham waited decades for Isaac. Joseph waited years in prison before his calling was fulfilled. David waited in caves before he wore the crown. Even my son, Jesus, waited in silence for 30 years before one word of ministry was spoken. Delay is not disfavor. Delay is the evidence that I'm doing something bigger than you imagined. I'm not just answering your prayer, I'm building something eternal inside you. You ask for the blessing, and I say, yes, but not yet. Because the blessing must find you ready, not just willing. And readiness isn't built through shortcuts, it's shaped in the waiting. There are things you've prayed for that are already done in the Spirit, sealed, sent, scheduled, but you're not standing in them yet because I'm still cultivating your strength to carry the weight of what's coming. You think I'm ignoring you, but I'm protecting you. You think I'm holding back, but I'm holding it together. The timing, the people, the provision, the alignment. One wrong moment and it all falls short. But in my time, it will be glorious. I'm not slow as some understand slowness. I'm exact. I move when the heart is prepared. I send when the vessel is ready. I release when the impact will echo, not just in your life, but in the lives I've assigned to you. Because you are not just waiting for something, you're being shaped for something. And that shaping happens in delay. Delay teaches you to pray when you no longer feel motivated. Delay teaches you to worship when answers are silent. Delay teaches you to obey without reward. Delay teaches you to trust my character, not just my gifts. I'm not interested in giving you temporary relief. I'm interested in giving you eternal roots. That's why I let you wait. That's why I allow the ache to deepen before I fill it. Because when I do, you'll know it was me. You won't take credit. You won't mistake the source. You won't worship the outcome. You'll worship me. And your story will carry a weight it never could have if I had answered too soon. You see, I'm not just answering your prayers. I'm answering generations. I'm healing bloodlines. I'm writing testimonies. I'm displaying my glory through your story. And yes, sometimes that glory takes time, but when it comes full. Not a half-formed breakthrough, not a rushed solution, but the kind of blessing that leaves no sorrow with it. So don't resent the delay. Don't curse the hallway between promise and fulfillment. Don't compare your timing to others, because what I'm doing in you is not a copy, it's a masterpiece. Delay will never mean I've changed my mind. Delay just means I'm still perfecting what's to come. Do you remember Lazarus? He was sick. His sisters called for Jesus, for me, knowing I could heal, and I loved them deeply. But I didn't come immediately. I waited 2 days, then 3, then 4. By the time I arrived, he was dead. And they wept. They said, "If only you had come sooner." They thought I had come too late, but I never come late. I came when resurrection, not healing, would bring greater glory. Had I come earlier, they would have seen healing. But because I waited, they saw resurrection. Child, some of your promises feel dead. Some of your dreams feel buried. Some of your prayers feel like they've expired. But I say this to you, I am the God who raises what others call dead. And sometimes I let something die so I can show you my power to resurrect. So if you're waiting, hold on. If you're weary, let me carry you. If you feel forgotten, remember this. Heaven has perfect memory. Your name is still written in my book. Your tears are still bottled. Your prayers are still echoing before my throne. Delay is hard, I know, but you're not being punished. You're being prepared. If you've made it this far in the journey, if your soul still dares to hope even through the ache, then you are stronger than you realize, and I am closer than you feel. Write this today as your declaration, as your confession, as your surrender. God's delay is not his denial. I will wait in faith. Let it be your altar in the wilderness. Let it be your flag of surrender. Let it be your offering in the hallway between the not yet and the it is done. Because here's the truth I whisper to your soul now. I am not late. I am not silent. I am not absent. I am preparing the place and preparing you. The day will come, not just a moment, but a divine convergence. And when it does, you'll understand why it took so long. You'll thank me for not answering too early. You'll see the tapestry I was weaving behind the veil. You'll realize what I was forming in the waiting became more precious than what you were asking for. And in that moment, you'll know. I never said no. I only said, not yet, my child. Trust me, and it's going to be beautiful. But now, it's time for a different key. Because waiting is hard enough. But what do you do when the delay becomes a spiritual battle? When doubt, fear, and even the enemy begin to whisper lies in the silence? That's what I will show you next. Key 5. Your battle is not evidence of my absence. It's proof of your calling. I know how hard it's been. I see the moments when you want to believe, but your faith feels like it's slipping through trembling hands. I see the days when the darkness presses in, not just around you, but inside you. The voices, the doubts, the weight, the questions that never stop, the fear that hides behind your smiles, the heaviness that refuses to lift. You begin to ask yourself, if God is with me, why does this feel like war? And this is where I come to remind you, my beloved, the battle you are facing is not a sign that I have left you. It is a sign that you carry something sacred, something powerful, something the enemy wants to destroy before it takes root. Your battle is not punishment, it is confirmation. Hell does not waste its weapons on empty vessels. The enemy does not launch storms at souls who pose no threat. He attacks those carrying light. He disturbs those who are getting close. And child, you are getting close. You've been asking for peace. And yes, I will give it. But don't confuse peace with passivity. The peace I give does not come because the storm disappears. It comes because I step into the storm with you. And in that storm, you are learning to fight. You may not realize it, but right now, in your weakness, you are stronger than ever. You're learning to pray when it hurts, to worship through tears, To believe when everything screams the opposite. You're learning to walk, not by what you see, but by who you know. That is the kind of faith that shakes darkness. That is the kind of strength that cannot be faked. That is what I am building in you. And that is what the enemy fears. Do you remember Gideon? When I found him, he was hiding. Small, scared, convinced he was the least in his family. But I didn't see him through the lens of fear. I saw him through the lens of destiny. I called him mighty warrior before he ever picked up a sword. And so I say to you now, mighty warrior, stand. The battle is not because you're weak. The battle is because you're chosen. And what I have placed inside you, the calling, the assignment, the anointing, it is waking up. And when destiny wakes up, opposition rises. But I have already gone before you. You are not fighting for victory. You are fighting from it. What you feel is real. I do not deny the pain, the confusion, the deep weariness, but I do ask you to lift your eyes, look higher, see the truth behind the tension. I am with you in the fire, and not just watching. I am shielding, strengthening, whispering, surrounding. And though the enemy has tried to convince you that you're losing, let me speak the truth. You are enduring, you are growing, you are moving forward, even when it feels like standing still. Every tear, every whispered prayer, every moment you choose not to give up, these are weapons, these are victories. So don't let the war inside convince you that you're abandoned. Don't let the silence convince you that I've stopped listening. Don't let the delay convince you that I've changed my mind. You are under pressure because you are under purpose. Even now, as you hear these words, something is rising in you again. Not loud, not flashy, but solid, quiet. Like a seed breaking through the ground. That is faith, that is the Spirit at work. You are not forgotten in this fight. I am the Lord of heaven's armies, and I fight beside you. I send angels to minister to you. I strengthen your hands for battle. I hold your mind when it wants to break. And yes, I still call you mine. There's something else you need to understand. Your pain has not been wasted. Everything the enemy used to try to destroy you, I will use to lift you. The very areas where you were attacked, those are the areas I will anoint. The very wounds that made you question me, those will become your testimony. The very weakness you hate, that will be where my glory shines brightest. Do you remember Paul? He asked me to take the thorn away. 3 times he begged, but I didn't remove it. Not because I enjoyed his struggle, but because I was using it to anchor him in grace. My power is made perfect in weakness, I told him. And the same is true for you. I am not looking for your strength. I am looking for your surrender. I am not asking for perfection. I am asking for permission to fight for you. So today, I hand you this key. Your battle is not proof of my absence. It's proof of your calling. You are marked, you are covered, you are being shaped, not for comfort, but for impact. And I know you're tired, but strength is coming. I know you feel alone, but help is on the way. I know you question how much more you can take, but I'm closer now than you can imagine. And if you are still here, still standing, still seeking, still listening, then I call you victorious. Write this now. Say it as a weapon. Say it even if your voice shakes. My battle is not a sign of defeat. It's a sign that God is with me. Declare it. Let the darkness hear it. Let your soul believe it. Because what's coming next is not another fight. It's a revelation. Because if you've endured the silence, the waiting, the warfare, what if I now want to show you the reason behind it all? What if the next key is the one that begins to make sense of everything you've walked through? That's what we will uncover next. Key 6. I am not just after the outcome. I am after your heart. You've been searching for answers, for clarity, for direction. You've asked me over and over, what's the purpose of this pain? Why is it taking so long? What do you want from me? You've tried to discern the reason behind every closed door, every delay, every hidden answer. You've fasted, you've prayed, you've obeyed. And still, there are moments when you feel like I am just out of reach. So today, I want to speak clearly to the ache behind your questions. Yes, I have a plan for your life. And yes, I will fulfill it. Yes, there are blessings prepared for you, and they will come in due time. But child, listen carefully. I am not just after your destination. I am after your heart. I'm not watching how quickly you succeed. I'm watching what grows inside you in the process. I'm not measuring your journey by milestones. I'm measuring it by how deeply you are learning to walk with me. Because it's not just what I want to do through you. It's what I want to do in you. You were created for connection, not performance. You were made for communion, not achievement. And yet the world trained you to chase outcomes, to evaluate progress, to measure growth by how much you accomplish. But I don't use the world's scale. I don't define your worth by your works. I define it by your relationship with me. When I walked with Adam in the garden, it wasn't about what he could do for me. It was about being with me. The goal was not fruit or naming animals or tending the garden. The goal was intimacy, and that same desire lives in my heart for you now. That's why some doors stay closed longer than you expect. That's why some dreams delay. It's not to break your spirit. It's to draw your spirit closer. I'm not withholding to hurt you. I'm waiting until your heart becomes fully mine. Because when your heart belongs to me, not just your hands, not just your voice, not just your good intentions, but your heart, then you are truly free. Free from fear, free from striving, free from chasing validation, free from needing others to affirm what I already whispered into your spirit. And this freedom, it doesn't come when the outcome arrives. It comes when you realize I'm enough, even if the outcome never does. I've seen the moments when you only feel secure, when things are going well, when prayers are answered, when plans succeed. But I want to teach you something more solid. I want you to find peace before the answer comes. I want you to find identity before the calling is visible. I want you to be rooted in me, not in results, because results fade, feelings change, circumstances shift, but I remain. I do not change like shadows. I do not withdraw like people. I am the same yesterday, today, and forever. Do you remember Mary and Martha? They invited me into their home. Martha prepared everything. She moved, she served, she worked. And Mary, she sat at my feet. Martha was frustrated. She thought Mary should be doing more, but I told her something most forget. Only one thing is necessary, and Mary has chosen it. That's what I want from you. Not more activity, but more proximity. Not more striving, but more sitting. Not more doing, more being. Because I'm not impressed by your pace. I'm moved by your presence. I don't want you to run faster. I want you to rest deeper. I don't want you to impress me. I want you to invite me. I don't want part of you. I want all of you. And I know that sounds scary. You've been hurt. You've been let down. You've been misunderstood, misused, misjudged. So you built walls. You created masks. You learned how to protect your soul, even from me. But I am not like them. I'm not coming to wound you. I'm coming to heal you. And yes, I already know every part of your heart. The broken parts, the angry parts, the insecure parts, the anxious parts. But I'm still asking for permission. I will never force intimacy. I will only invite it. And that invitation stands right now. Will you give me your heart? Not just your words. Because if you do, I will rebuild what life tried to destroy. If you do, I will breathe where others only left silence. If you do, I will show you what it means to live in union with me. Not religion, not rules, not rituals, but real, raw, holy relationship. That's what I've wanted from the beginning. That's why I formed you. Not so you would be a servant lost in fear, but a child walking in love. You may still be asking, but what about the things I prayed for? What about the breakthrough, the purpose, the promises? And I say again, yes, those things matter. Yes, they will come. But they are not the prize. I am. The blessing is not the house, the marriage, the platform, the healing. The blessing is my presence. Because what good is the miracle if you don't know the miracle worker? What good is the healing if you forget the healer? What good is the calling if you walk away from the one who called you? That's why I sometimes remove the feeling, so you'll pursue the real thing. That's why I let the outcomes delay, so you'll come back to the source. Because I'd rather have your surrendered heart than your satisfied expectations. And here's the mystery. When your heart becomes mine, fully, deeply, freely mine, then everything else flows in alignment. Not because you earned it, but because now you're ready to carry it without it carrying you. You'll no longer need the answer to feel secure. You'll no longer be crushed if the door stays closed. You'll no longer define yourself by what works or what doesn't. You'll simply walk in me. And in that place, nothing can shake you, not disappointment, not loss, not rejection, not delay, because your soul will have found its anchor. And child, I long for that moment. I long for the moment when you stop asking when and start saying yes. I long for the moment when you stop chasing outcomes and start chasing me, because the closer you draw, the more the noise fades. And the more the noise fades, the clearer my whisper becomes. And when my whisper becomes your atmosphere, everything changes. Fear loses its grip, anxiety loses its voice, comparison loses its power, and your identity becomes unshakable. So I ask you now, as gently and as clearly as I can, will you give me your heart? Not the polished version, not the rehearsed version, not the church version, the real one, the tired one, the confused one, the bruised one. Because that's the one I came for. That's the one I died for. That's the one I rose for. And that's the one I still want. Let go of performance, let go of pressure, let go of pretending, and come home, back to my heart, back to the place where you are known, back to the one who's been waiting all this time, not for your perfection, but for your permission. And if this speaks to something in you, if your soul is stirring, then let this be your response today. Lord, you can have my heart. Write it, whisper it, declare it. Let it be the cry that brings heaven close. Because this is the key that unlocks the others. This is the one that makes sense of every delay, every battle, every silence. This is where revival begins, not in crowds, but in surrendered hearts. And now, we go deeper. Because once I have your heart, I want to show you how to live from it, how to abide, not just believe. How to walk with me, not just for me. That's the key I'll place in your hands next. Key 7. Abide in me, and you will bear fruit, without striving. You gave me your heart. I felt it, the moment you opened, not just your mouth, but your inner place, the moment you stopped performing and simply came close. That one whisper, even if quiet, shook heaven and stirred something eternal inside you. Now, with your heart in my hands, I want to take you deeper. You've spent so much of your life trying to be enough, trying to do enough, trying to fix everything, hold everyone, make it all work. You've measured your worth by your performance, your value by your usefulness, your holiness by your effort. But I never asked you to strive. I asked you to abide. Striving says, I must keep going or everything will fall apart. Abiding says, even when I stop, God holds everything together. You were not created to hustle for my approval. You were created to walk with me in rest, to let your roots grow deep into my love, and let your fruit come not from force, but from flow. That's what Jesus meant when he said, "I am the vine, and you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing." You've read that before, but today I want to speak it into your soul with fresh power. Child, you are a branch, not the vine. You are not the source of strength. You are not the maker of miracles. You are not the one who must produce results. You are the one who remains, who rests, who receives. And from that place, the fruit begins to grow, quietly, slowly, naturally, like sunlight touching a tree, like water soaking into roots, like my spirit whispering into your depths. This is the rhythm of my kingdom, not pressure but presence, not performance but partnership. You've been exhausted because you've tried to do what only I can do. You've tried to bear the fruit and without first sinking into the vine, but fruit without root doesn't last. You can produce for a season, but it will leave you empty. You can serve others until you have nothing left. You can sing the songs, preach the words, smile in the photos, and still be withering inside. But when you abide in me, something changes. You begin to hear my voice in the quiet again. You begin to feel peace even when nothing changes. You begin to wake up without dread. You begin to walk without fear. You begin to give without being drained. Because now you are drawing from my strength, not yours. You are not working for rest, you're working from rest. And that kind of rest doesn't mean inactivity. It means alignment. It means doing only what I ask, no more, no less. It means saying yes to me and no to the weights that never belonged on your shoulders. Abiding looks like obedience, not out of duty, but out of love. It looks like sitting with me before speaking for me. It looks like choosing peace over productivity. It looks like trusting me with the outcome and focusing on the connection. Because here is what I long for most, not your busyness, but your being. Being with me, being loved by me, being filled with me, until what flows from you is not ambition, but overflow. That's when the fruit multiplies, not because you pushed harder, but because your life became a reflection of our union. Others will taste joy, because you've stayed near the source of joy. Others will receive hope, because you've been drinking from the well that never runs dry. Others will see light, because you've been sitting with the light of the world. This is the way of my kingdom, and I know it feels backward to the world. They tell you to rise early, grind harder, be louder, do more. But I tell you, sit with me, listen, trust, breathe, move only when I move, speak only what I speak. Even Jesus did nothing apart from me. He said, "The Son can do nothing by himself. He only does what he sees the Father doing." And now, he invites you to walk in that same rhythm. Abide in me, and I will take care of the fruit. You will see change, not because you forced it, but because you flowed in it. You will touch lives, not because you planned it, but because I placed you. You will be used mightily, not because you performed, but because you remained. There is a sacred power in your stillness, in your hiddenness, in your trust. Do you remember the fig tree? It looked full of leaves, impressive from a distance, but when Jesus came closer, there was no fruit. It had the appearance of life, but not the substance. And so many live like that, visible, admired, praised, but barren on the inside. I don't want that for you. I don't want you to look like you have life. I want you to have life. Life that overflows. Life that refreshes others, life that doesn't crack when the pressure comes, and that life comes from abiding. So here's what I ask of you now. Make space for me again, not just in crisis, not just on Sundays, but in the quiet corners of your day. Let me walk with you in the grocery line. Let me whisper to you as you drive. Let me hold you as you fall asleep. Let me speak before you speak. Let me become your rhythm, not your emergency. And as you abide, you will change. Not overnight, not in ways the world applauds, but deeply, eternally, invisibly. Until one day, you'll look around and realize your life is covered in fruit, not because you worked harder, but because you stayed with me. And if your spirit knows this is true, if something inside you is saying, yes, this is what I need, then write it, speak it, declare it. I choose to abide in you, Lord, not strive for you. Let that be your anchor today. Let it be your breath tomorrow, because from this place I will do more through you than you ever could in your own strength. But now that you've learned to abide, there's something even deeper, because the world will try to draw you out again. Distraction, busyness, fear, comparison. So what do you do when your heart wants to abide, but your mind keeps wandering? That's what we'll uncover next. Key 8. Bring your mind back to me, again and again. You want to stay with me. I see that. I feel the sincerity in your worship, the hunger in your soul, the longing in your prayers. But then, the day begins. Notifications buzz, thoughts race, doubts whisper, and suddenly, what felt so sacred in stillness is buried beneath noise again. You ask, why do I keep drifting? You say, God, I want to stay near, but I feel so easily pulled away. And I answer gently, it's not your weakness, it's your humanity, and I don't despise it. I don't grow tired of you returning. I don't roll my eyes when your thoughts wander again during prayer. I don't get angry when your mind runs ahead of your spirit. I just keep whispering, come back. Because the secret to staying with me is not never wandering, it's learning how to return, over and over again. That's the rhythm of relationship. That's the heartbeat of grace. And if you could see what I see, how often you do come back, you'd be less harsh with yourself. I see the way you pause between tasks just to say my name. I see the moment you turn the music down just to hear me better. I see the tear that falls for no reason other than my presence brushing against your soul. And even when you feel far, I am still right here. Because I'm not keeping score. I am keeping watch, and I'm watching over you with mercy. My invitation is not perfection, it's presence. Bring your thoughts to me again and again. Every hour, every breath, every fear, every question. I am not the God who grows weary of repetition. I am the God who rejoices in return. Bring me the chaos in your mind. Bring me the thoughts you're ashamed of. Bring me the loops you can't seem to break, the worry, the regret, the what-ifs. I don't need you to sort them out before you come. Just come, and I will help you untangle the threads. Let me show you how. When anxiety rises, don't wrestle it alone. Bring it to me. When you start to compare your life to others, don't drown in shame. Bring it to me. When your thoughts spin with questions about the future, don't silence them by force. Bring them to me. I'm not afraid of your mind. I created it, and I can restore it. But it won't happen by force. It happens through focus, not trying harder, but turning sooner. Turning your eyes, your attention, your thoughts back to me. That's what David did when he wrote, "Why are you cast down, O my soul? Hope in God." He spoke to himself. He redirected his thoughts. You can do that too, and I will help you. When your mind starts to spiral, whisper my name. When confusion clouds your thoughts, open my word. When fear grips your chest, sit with me in silence. You don't need to say many words. You don't need to fix yourself before coming. You don't need to be spiritual to be still. You just need to return, again and again. That's what abiding looks like in a world full of distraction, constant return. And I honor every attempt. Even if you drift 50 times in a day, come back 51. And I will be waiting, not with judgment, but with joy. Because every time you return, your roots grow deeper. Every time you turn your eyes back to me, you build a stronger connection. And over time, the gaps between the drifting grow shorter. The time it takes to return becomes quicker. The shame begins to fade. And what once felt like striving becomes rhythm. My child, you were not made to hold it all together. You were made to be held. So let me hold you. Let me carry your thoughts when they feel too heavy. Let me remind you who you are when your mind forgets. You don't have to control everything. You just need to come back. That is your power. That is your freedom. I will train your mind to live in peace. Not because your life is perfect, but because your thoughts are anchored in truth. My spirit will teach you to recognize when your mind starts to wander, and not with guilt, but with grace. It will feel like a gentle tug, a loving nudge. Come back. I'm here. And that simple act of returning again and again will change you more than 1,000 resolutions ever could. Because that is where transformation happens. Not in the promise to never fail, but in the pattern of always returning. Do you remember the prodigal son? He wandered far. He forgot who he was. He ran into the arms of lesser things. But then one day, he came back. And the moment I saw him returning, I ran. That's what I do for you, every time. Whether you wander for an hour or for a season, when you turn, I run with love, I run with compassion, I run with open arms, and I restore everything the world tried to steal. You will never exhaust my grace, you will never wear out my welcome, you will never hear me say, it's too late, because I am the God who rejoices every time a heart returns. And yes, that includes your thoughts. Your mind is part of your worship. When you bring it to me, even when it's messy, you are honoring me. When you recenter, even in the middle of your day, you are loving me, and I see it, and I bless it, and I use it to transform you from the inside out. So here is my invitation to you today. Bring your thoughts home. Bring them back to the one who made them. Let me renew your mind. Let me speak peace into your chaos. Let me be your center, again and again. And if this is resonating, if something inside you is saying, I want this, then write it now. Lord, I will return to you again and again. Say it with your fingers. Say it with your spirit. Say it not as a promise of perfection, but as a commitment to connection, because I will never reject a heart that turns toward me. Now that you're learning to bring your mind back, there is one more place I want to lead you, because beyond the return, there is a renewal. What if your mind could become not just a place of battle, but a place of peace? That's the key I'll place in your hands next. Key 9, let me renew your mind so you can live free. You've brought your heart to me. You've returned with your thoughts again and again. And now I want to do something greater than comfort you in the moment. I want to transform how you think, how you see, how you live. Because so much of your battle isn't out there. It's in here, in the quiet places of your mind where no one else hears the noise. The world may see your smile, your strength, your service. But I see your inner world, the thoughts that loop and won't stop, the fears that creep in when it gets quiet, the old wounds that replay like old songs on repeat. And I don't want to simply help you cope with them. I want to heal them. Child, I want to renew your mind, not just so you can feel better, but so you can live free. I never created you to live bound by fear, guilt, shame, or scarcity. I never intended for your thoughts to feel like a battlefield you can't escape. I made your mind to be a place of peace, a place where my spirit speaks, where truth flows, where love guides. But somewhere along the way, lies took root. Voices that weren't mine started shaping how you saw yourself. Experiences told you who you were, and you believed them. Trauma rewired your thoughts. Failure wrote false identities on the walls of your mind, and slowly, without even realizing it, you stopped seeing yourself as I see you. So now, I speak over you this invitation. Let me renew your mind. Let me uproot what doesn't belong. Let me rewrite the script. Let me tear down the fortress of fear that has claimed residency in your thoughts. You don't have to carry those thoughts forever. You don't have to live in the same patterns. You don't have to spend your life reacting from old wounds. I'm the God who makes all things new, including the way you think. And this isn't something you do by trying harder. It begins by surrendering deeper. You don't fight darkness by yelling at it. You overcome darkness by turning on the light, and I am that light. Every time you invite me into a thought, that thought begins to shift. Every time you pause and ask, God, is this true? You begin to break agreement with the lie. Every time you choose to believe what I say instead of what the enemy says, you begin to live in freedom. This is not about positive thinking. It's about truth transformation. Because truth is not an idea. Truth is a person, and I am that person. And when you walk with truth, you begin to walk in clarity and peace and purpose. So let's begin right here. You've believed the lie that you are not enough. But I say, you are chosen, called, covered, and complete in me. You've believed that your past disqualifies you. But I say, I'm the God who restores the years the locusts have eaten. You've believed that you will always be anxious, always feel behind, always feel broken. But I say, you have the mind of Christ, and who I set free is free indeed. Let those words sink in. Let them become the foundation of your thoughts, because until your thinking changes, your life won't change. Your decisions come from what you believe. Your emotions flow from how you interpret reality. So many of the struggles you face are rooted not in your circumstances, but in the lens through which you see them. And that lens, I want to heal it. When Paul wrote, "Be transformed by the renewing of your mind," he wasn't speaking theory. He was speaking from experience. He knew what it meant to be radically changed, from a man bound by law and anger to a man set free by grace and purpose. That kind of transformation didn't just happen in his heart, it happened in his mind. And the same is possible for you. I want to walk through your thoughts with you, not as a critic, but as a father. Not to shame you, but to liberate you. I want to help you recognize the thoughts that come from fear and exchange them for thoughts rooted in love. I want to show you how to pause in the middle of mental chaos and say, Lord, speak truth into this. And I will. Every time you ask, I will. You are not stuck. Your brain is not broken. Your mind is not too far gone. There is no trauma too deep, no memory too strong, no fear too old for me to heal. I am the creator of your mind, and I know exactly how to restore it. I know where the thoughts originate. I know how they affect your body, your mood, your relationships, your dreams. And I want to walk with you through each one to bring light, truth, and freedom. Let's start together. When you wake up in the morning before the world rushes in, say, Lord, renew my mind today. When a fearful thought enters, pause and ask, is this from you, God? When shame tries to whisper, answer with, there is no condemnation for those in Christ. This is how renewal begins, not in huge leaps, but in small moments of truth. And every time you align your thoughts with mine, chains fall off. You will start to think differently, feel differently, react differently. You will stop living from survival and start living from revelation, not because you finally got strong, but because you finally stopped believing the lie that you were weak. You are strong in me. You are sound in me. You are secure in me. And this is the mind I want to give you. Not one ruled by fear, but by love. Not one clouded by confusion, but by clarity. Not one filled with chaos, but filled with my word. So let me renew you, not just once, but daily. Let my word wash over your thoughts like water over stone. Let my spirit whisper peace when panic knocks at your door. Let my presence be the filter through which you see everything. And if this is what you want, if your heart is whispering yes, then say it now. Lord, renew my mind. I choose your truth. Write it, speak it, believe it, and watch what begins to change. Because this is the turning point. This is where you stop living at the mercy of your emotions. This is where you stop believing every thought that enters your head. This is where you take every thought captive and make it bow to truth. And where there was confusion, there will be clarity. Where there was fear, there will be power. Where there was torment, there will be rest. Because when I renew your mind, I restore your life. And from that restored place, you will see everything differently, even suffering, even delay, even your past. Because now, you're no longer interpreting the world through pain. You're interpreting it through my promises, and there's still more to come. Because once your mind is renewed, you begin to see not just what I've done for you, but what I want to do through you. That's the next key I'll place in your hands. Key 10. You were born to carry my light into darkness. You've asked me so many times, God, what is my purpose? You've whispered it in the dark. You've cried it through tears. You've shouted it in frustration, and I've listened every time, not because I didn't know your purpose, but because I was waiting until you were ready to carry it well. You see, purpose isn't discovered in a hurry. It's uncovered in intimacy. It doesn't explode like fireworks. It unfolds like dawn. And now, as I look at you, not just who you are today, but who I've always seen you becoming, I say to you, you were born to carry my light into darkness. Not because you're strong, but because I am. Not because you have it all together, but because you have me. This world is darker than you know. People are walking around smiling on the outside, but they're breaking on the inside. Hearts are growing cold. Fear is multiplying. Hope is vanishing. And that's exactly why I placed you here. Not by accident, not by chance, but on purpose in this moment of history, to be a vessel of my glory. Yes, you, with your past, with your wounds, with your hesitations, with your flaws. You are not too broken to be used. You are not too late to start. You are not too small to shine. Because it's not about your perfection, it's about your permission. You were never meant to hide your light. You were meant to carry it boldly. And what is that light? It's me. It's my presence in you, my peace in chaos, my mercy when others only bring judgment, my voice when the world shouts confusion, my hands reaching through your life to touch others. That's why the enemy has fought you so hard. That's why your mind has been a war zone. That's why discouragement has clung to you. Because if you ever realized what I've placed inside you, the gates of hell would tremble. So I'm telling you now, stand up. You were made for this. You don't need a stage. You don't need a platform. You don't need thousands of followers. You just need to let me shine through you right where you are, at your job, in your home, with your family, online. In the quiet conversations, in the moments when no one is watching, because that's how light moves, quietly, consistently, powerfully. And don't say, but God, I'm not qualified. I don't use the qualified. I qualify those I choose, and I've chosen you. Remember Moses? He told me he couldn't speak well. Jeremiah said he was too young. Gideon said he was too weak. But I don't see like man sees. I don't choose like the world chooses. I choose based on surrender, not skill. I choose based on openness, not image. And I've placed something holy in you. It may not look impressive yet, but it's alive. It's burning. It's ready. You carry light because you carry me. You carry answers because you carry my spirit. You carry power. Not human power, but divine power. And that means every place your feet touch becomes holy ground. Every room you enter shifts because of my presence within you, not because you try to force it, not because you push religion, but because you radiate me. You carry the light of love in a world addicted to hate. You carry the light of truth in a culture drowning in confusion. You carry the light of grace in places still ruled by shame. And you carry the light of hope in hearts that have forgotten how to hope. Don't underestimate what I can do through one surrendered life. You think it has to be loud, public, huge. But I started a revolution through 12 men with no fame, no status, no title. I built my church on faith, not followers, and I'm still doing it through people like you. Ordinary, yes, but filled with extraordinary fire. Your words carry weight when they come from my spirit. Your hands bring healing when they move with compassion. Your life becomes a lamp when it's placed in my hands, and you were not meant to hide anymore. You've spent too long shrinking back. You've listened to the voice that said, "You're not enough." You've compared yourself to others and decided you had nothing to offer. But I never called you to compare, I called you to shine. And when you shine, it won't look like anyone else. That's the beauty of light. It doesn't need to compete. It simply illuminates. So stop waiting for perfect timing. Stop waiting to feel ready. The world needs what I've placed in you now. It doesn't need another copy. It needs your voice, your story, your obedience, even if it trembles, even if it stutters, even if it's messy. Your light doesn't have to be blinding, it just has to be real. And when it's real, it will draw the broken. It will comfort the lost. It will speak to those sitting in the shadows. Because that's what light does. It finds the dark. It doesn't avoid it. It confronts it gently, powerfully, faithfully. And here's the secret. The more you walk in the light, the more darkness loses its grip on you too. You'll find freedom in shining. You'll find clarity in obedience. You'll find strength in surrender. You'll stop living for approval and start living from purpose. Because once you realize you were born to carry my light, the opinions of others lose their weight. The fear of failure fades. The shame of your past breaks off, and you begin to walk as who you truly are, a child of the light. So say it now. Let it rise in you like fire. I was born to carry God's light into darkness. Write it, declare it, believe it. This is your identity. This is your assignment. This is why I've walked with you through pain, through waiting, through warfare, through silence, not just to heal you, but to ignite you, because healed people become healers, freed people set others free, loved people become love in action. And now you are ready, but the light you carry will face resistance. Not everyone will understand it. Some will push back. The enemy will try to intimidate. So what do you do when your light is challenged? That's what I'll prepare you for next. Key 11, stand firm. When opposition rises, I am with you. I never told you it would be easy. I never said the path of light would be quiet or smooth. I never promised that those around you would always understand, support, or celebrate your calling. What I promised was this: I will be with you, always, even to the end. You've said yes to me. You've allowed me to heal your heart, renew your mind, anchor your identity. You've agreed to carry my light, and that yes, that holy surrender has not gone unnoticed in the unseen realms. Because when light rises, darkness resists, not because it's stronger, not because it can overcome you, but because it fears what's inside you. Child, I need you to hear this clearly. Opposition is not proof that you've done something wrong. It's often confirmation that you're doing exactly what I've called you to do. So when it comes, and it will, don't be shaken. Don't let criticism confuse you. Don't let rejection harden you. Don't let delays discourage you. And don't let the resistance steal your voice. Because I never told you the storm wouldn't come. I told you it couldn't shake what is rooted in me. You will face voices that try to silence you, but I will give you words that cut through noise. You will face atmospheres that feel heavy, but I will cover you with my presence. You will face days when you feel alone, but child, you never are. I am the one who walks into fire with you. I am the one who stands in front of giants when you feel small. I am the one who shuts the lion's mouth when you are surrounded by enemies. And I am the one who whispers in your spirit, "Do not fear, I am with you." That's what I told Joshua before he stepped into battle. That's what I told Mary when I called her to carry the impossible. That's what I told Paul when the chains grew tighter but the mission grew louder. And that's what I now tell you. Do not fear, I am with you. You may feel misunderstood, I understand you fully. You may feel weak, my strength is made perfect in your weakness. You may feel like turning back, but there's nothing behind you worth more than what's ahead of you in me. I have gone before you, I have surrounded you. I have assigned angels to minister to you. I have filled you with my spirit, not a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So when resistance comes, don't be surprised. Be steady, be still, stand firm, because everything I've been doing in you, the silence, the healing, the pruning, the renewal, has been preparing you for this very thing, to stand when others bow, to shine when others dim, to believe when others break. Not because you're immune to pain, but because you're rooted in promise. Not because you're invincible, but because you're anchored in me. And yes, you may lose things along the way. People may walk away, doors may close, opportunities may vanish. But I will remain, and I will replace everything you lose with something better, not always louder, but deeper. I'm not building popularity around you. I'm building character inside you. Because when the winds come, I don't need you to impress the storm. I need you to outlast it. So how do you stand when it gets hard? You remember who called you. You recall my faithfulness, how I showed up in the silence, how I held you in the battle, how I spoke to you when no one else knew what you were going through. You speak my word, not just from your lips, but from your spirit, because my word is a sword, and you were not meant to stand defenseless. You were meant to stand in authority. You were meant to stand knowing you are not fighting for victory. You are standing in victory. The cross already crushed every curse. The resurrection already declared the end from the beginning. And now I call you to live like that's true. Child, the days ahead will not always feel light, but they will be full of light, because I will shine through you, even in hard places. And when it feels like too much, don't carry it alone. Bring me the weight. Bring me the wounds. Bring me the weariness. I will refresh you. I will hide you in my shadow. I will pour oil on your head in the presence of your enemies. I will remind you, you are anointed, appointed, and never abandoned. Let them say what they will. Let the world turn cold. Let the resistance grow. Your assignment doesn't change because of pressure. Your identity doesn't shrink because of attack. And my presence doesn't fade because the night gets darker. You were made to stand. Not in arrogance, not in defiance, but in holy confidence, the kind that comes from knowing that the one who called you is faithful, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone because I've already approved you, the kind that doesn't respond to every criticism because your heart is rooted in my voice, the kind that doesn't retreat because retreat is not your language anymore. You are not going backward. You are not falling apart. You are not who you used to be. You are mine. And I will strengthen you daily. So speak when I say speak, move when I say move, rest when I say rest. And when opposition rises, lift your eyes, because just beyond the resistance is the release. Just past the pushback is the breakthrough. Just beyond the battle is the glory. And you, my child, are part of that story. So if your spirit is resonating with this, if you feel the fire but also the fear, if you want to keep going but sometimes you don't know how, then let me put these words in your heart. I will stand firm because God is with me. Write it. Whisper it. Let it be your battle cry. because what's ahead will require courage. But courage doesn't mean you never feel afraid. It means you trust me more than your fear. It means you plant your feet in truth, even when everything else shakes. It means you stand, not because you feel strong, but because you know who holds you up, and I do. So stand, my child, and don't move until I say it's time, because the light you carry has only just begun to shine, but the glory that's coming, that's what I'll show you next. Key 12, what you speak creates atmospheres. Align your voice with mine. There is power in your tongue, more than you realize. Power to build or break, to bless or to bind, to call forth light or to echo darkness. You were created in my image, and when I spoke, the universe responded. Galaxies obeyed, light appeared, life was born. My voice shaped reality. And child, I placed a portion of that same creative force inside of you. You are not speaking into air. You are speaking into spirit, and every word that leaves your mouth either aligns with me or with the one who opposes me. You've spoken many things without knowing their weight, words about yourself, about your future, about others. You've repeated what fear whispered. You've agreed with what shame accused. You've rehearsed old labels and judgments as if they were truth. But I never called you broken. I never called you too late. I never called you unworthy. I never called you average. So why do you echo what I never spoke? This is the moment I come to teach you a holy key. Align your voice with mine, because what you speak shapes the spiritual atmosphere around you. The enemy cannot read your thoughts, but he watches your patterns. And when he hears you speak fear, he follows it. When he hears you speak doubt, he agrees. When he hears you speak death over your purpose, he cheers, because your agreement gives him access. But when you speak truth, even if your voice trembles, you shut the door to darkness. When you declare what I have said, even if your emotions don't yet feel it, you unlock my presence in the atmosphere around you. Your voice is a gate. What flows from your mouth determines what flows into your mind. So today, I'm calling you higher, not to fake joy, not to deny pain, but to speak in alignment with heaven, even while you walk through earth. This is what David did. He cried, he wept, he questioned, but then he spoke truth. Why are you downcast, O my soul? Put your hope in God. He didn't wait for his emotions to change. He used his voice to shift the atmosphere, and you can do the same. The enemy wants your words. He wants you to curse your own progress. He wants you to speak as if you're defeated when you are already victorious. But I am teaching you a better way, a holy habit. Begin each morning with words that carry life. God is with me today. I am not who I used to be. My mind is being renewed. I have what I need for this moment. His grace is sufficient. I will not fear the future. He holds it. When anxiety rises, don't fight it in silence. Speak. My God has not given me a spirit of fear. I will be still and know that He is God. Perfect love casts out fear, and I am perfectly loved. When shame tries to return, don't hide. Speak. There is no condemnation for those in Christ. I am forgiven. I am free. I am a new creation. Your declarations are not empty. They are prophetic. They don't just reflect your situation, they reshape it. When I hovered over the waters in Genesis, it was void, formless, dark. And then I spoke. Let there be light, and light responded. Now I call you to speak as I did. Speak light into your own soul. Speak peace into your own storms. Speak grace over your own failures, not because you feel it, but because truth is greater than feeling. This is not self-help. This is spirit alignment, because every time you speak my word out loud, you do more than encourage yourself. You send a sword into the unseen. Demons retreat where truth is declared. Atmospheres shift when you lift your voice in praise instead of panic. Your words are not wasted when they're rooted in me. They may not move mountains immediately, but they move you. And sometimes, that's the first miracle. So let me ask you, what have you been saying about yourself lately? What have you been saying about the waiting, about the calling, about me? Have your words been watering hope or poisoning it? Have you been calling yourself by names I never gave you? It's time to break those word curses, not just the ones spoken over you, but the ones spoken by you. Right now, I give you authority to reverse every agreement that doesn't reflect my truth. Say this with me. I cancel every word I've spoken that doesn't align with God's voice. I speak life, not death, faith, not fear, hope, not despair. Let those words plant new seeds. You'll begin to see fruit. Your atmosphere will change. Your thoughts will follow. Your spirit will rise, and yes, people will notice. Some may misunderstand your new language. They may call it fake. They may say you're trying too hard, but they don't know what you're fighting through. They don't know how your survival has depended on this shift. You don't speak to impress them. You speak to stay free. This is warfare, not performance. This is how you win your private battles, not by silence, but by speaking my word louder than the lies. When Jesus was tempted in the wilderness, he didn't whisper thoughts, he spoke truth. It is written, and hell had to flee. You are in a battle too, so speak what is written. Let your tongue become a tool of victory. You're not being dramatic, you're being intentional. Because you understand now, your voice is not neutral, it's a key. Use it well, use it often, use it boldly. And as you do, I will back your words with heaven's weight. I will honor the one who honors my word. And soon, the atmosphere around you will reflect the atmosphere within you. Peace will settle, hope will rise, strength will return. And the environment of your life will no longer be dictated by what happens to you, but by what comes through you. Speak it again now. I align my voice with heaven. I will speak what God speaks. Say it until it becomes natural. Say it until it becomes truth in motion. And when you forget, come back. Don't give up. Just begin again. Because every word spoken in faith plants a seed, and I am the gardener who waters every seed sown in my name. Now that your voice is aligned, get ready, because the shift is coming. You've aligned your thoughts, your heart, and now your words. The next key I place in your hands is the key of divine momentum. We're not standing still anymore. You're about to move, in power, in purpose, in flow. That's what I'll show you next. Key 13. When you walk in alignment, momentum follows. You've waited long. You've wept in silence. You've questioned your pace, doubted your growth, and asked me time and again, Lord, am I falling behind? No, child. You're not behind. You're right on time, my time. You've wanted to run, but I asked you to walk. You've asked to fly, but I taught you how to crawl in trust. Because what I was building in you was not speed. It was substance. I didn't want quick growth that withers in heat. I wanted deep roots that hold in storms. And now the waiting has not been wasted. The stillness has not been silent. The years of quiet obedience have not been unseen. Because here it begins, momentum. Not manufactured by force, but born of alignment. The world chases hustle, but I move in holy timing. When your heart, mind, spirit, and words align with me, momentum begins naturally. It flows like rivers finding their path, like wind catching the wings of eagles, like the tide that rises because the moon was placed where I told it to be. You've wondered, how will I know when it's time to move? You won't need a sign. You'll feel the wind shift. You'll sense the current pull. And it won't be striving, it will be flow. Momentum is not about rushing, it's about rising, with me, in me, by me. It's the quiet confidence that comes when your steps are synchronized with my will, when you stop wrestling against my timing and begin to rest in my direction. Doors open that no man can shut. Connections appear that no networking could arrange. Opportunities unfold that no strategy could manufacture. Favor increases not because you chased it, but because you walked in rhythm with me. This is the reward of alignment. The blessing doesn't chase you, it finds you. It finds you in the field like it found David. It finds you in the prison like it found Joseph. It finds you in the wilderness like it found Moses. It finds you in surrender like it found Mary. Because when I see a heart that beats with mine, I release movement, and what begins in the spirit will manifest in your life. So do not be surprised when things begin to accelerate. Don't be afraid when doors open quickly. You are not rushing ahead. You are stepping into what I've been preparing all along. You are not unworthy of this momentum. You are ready for it. And no, it won't always be visible to others. Momentum in the spirit often starts with obedience in secret. It looks like a decision you didn't post, a prayer you whispered when no one knew, a yes you gave me that cost you everything. But those unseen moments created spiritual weight, and that weight is what now gives you authority. And when you move with authority, you don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to convince others. You don't need to defend your obedience. You just move, and I move with you. Because you're not just chasing destiny, you're walking in it. And yes, there will be resistance. Momentum often draws friction, but don't confuse pressure with misdirection. The enemy only opposes what threatens his domain. So when momentum begins to build, you may feel the weight, but I will give you grace. You may feel stretched, but I will give you strength. You may feel the tension between comfort and calling, but I will give you clarity. Keep moving, one step at a time, even if the path doesn't make sense to others, even if it feels too fast for your comfort or too slow for your expectations. Momentum doesn't mean constant action. It means consistent obedience. Sometimes that looks like bold movement. Sometimes it looks like quiet rest. But both are obedience when they're led by me. Do you remember how I led my people in the wilderness? There were days of marching. There were days of stillness. There were clouds by day, fire by night. And they moved only when I moved. That is the rhythm I'm restoring in you now. I am breaking you free from worldly urgency and tuning you to heaven's pace. And as you walk in that rhythm, you will begin to notice something. Things that once felt forced now feel fluid. Ideas begin to flow. Doors begin to open. People begin to find you. Opportunities begin to align, not because you're pushing, but because you're in sync with me. This is divine momentum. It's not driven by fear. It's not fueled by ego. It's not built on performance. It is the natural result of intimacy. Because when you abide, you begin to move like I move. You begin to flow where my spirit flows. You stop asking, how fast should I go? And begin asking, where are you going, Lord? And that one shift changes everything. So listen now, you don't need to panic. You don't need to rush. You don't need to chase what I never assigned. Just walk with me. And when it's time to run, I'll give you wind. When it's time to wait, I'll give you peace. When it's time to speak, I'll give you words. And when it's time to act, I'll give you favor. Because I'm not just giving you momentum, I'm giving you movement with purpose. And this movement isn't just about you. It's for those who will be blessed through you. The ones watching your life, silently, secretly, wondering if God still speaks, still moves, still sees. They will watch your movement and begin to believe again. Because your steps will prophesy. Your obedience will preach. Your peace will speak louder than your performance. This is the beginning of your momentum. But never forget, you don't carry it, I do. You don't have to sustain it. You just have to stay surrendered. And if your heart is saying yes, if your spirit feels the shift, if something inside you knows this word was for you, say it now. Lord, I surrender to your pace. I move in alignment with you. Let that be your anthem in this season. No striving, no forcing, just flow, just faith, just following me. Because what comes next will not be because of your hustle, but because of your yes. And when you give me your yes, I give you my momentum. Now that you've surrendered to my pace, get ready, because I'm about to take you deeper into identity. The next key I place in your hands will reveal something the world has tried to hide from you. It's not just about what you carry, it's about who you are in me. That's what we will uncover next. Key 14. You are who I say you are. Let me define you. You've spent so much of your life trying to figure out who you are. Trying to earn value, trying to hold it all together so no one would see you fall apart. You've looked in the mirror and questioned your worth. You've compared yourself to others and wondered if I made a mistake when I made you. You've tried to be what people wanted, what the world applauded, what culture celebrated. But somewhere in the middle of all that reaching, all that noise, all that pressure, you lost sight of the one voice that never changes, mine. I was the first to speak over you. Before the world named you, before life labeled you, before trauma tried to mark you, before rejection tried to silence you, I called you mine. And that voice still stands. That word still echoes, because no matter what you've believed or been told or told yourself, you are who I say you are. Not what you feel, not what you failed, not what you feared. You are who I say you are. And I say, you are loved, not conditionally, not occasionally, but relentlessly. You are chosen, not accidentally, not as a backup plan, but on purpose. You are enough, not because you've proven it, but because I've declared it. You are forgiven, not because you earned it, but because my Son paid for it. You are free, not just from sin, but from shame. You are mine. Fully, eternally, irrevocably mine. This is your identity. And until you live from it, you'll always be searching. You'll build your worth on shifting ground. You'll need constant reassurance, constant achievement, constant applause. But child, listen. You don't need to prove who you are when you've already been named by me. Let me remind you of the truth. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your performance. You are not your failures, your fears, your flaws. You are not the trauma that happened to you. You are not the lie that shaped your childhood. You are not the voice that said, you'll never be enough. You are my beloved. You are my image bearer. You are my temple, my dwelling place, my joy. You are not random. You are not forgotten. You are not rejected. You are not too late. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are not behind. You are exactly where I knew you would be in this moment for this word. Because I'm peeling off the labels. I'm tearing down the lies. I'm burning away the masks. And I'm reintroducing you to you. The version of you that walks in confidence, not insecurity. The version of you that speaks truth, not apology. The version of you that rises in authority, not fear. The version of you that isn't chained to other people's approval. The version of you that wakes up and knows, I don't have to become someone else. I just have to become who I already am in him. Because here's the truth, identity is not something you build. It's something you receive. It's not a brand, it's not a reputation, it's not an image, it's a revelation. A spiritual reality that begins to rewrite how you see everything, especially yourself. Because when you know who you are, you stop chasing what was never yours. You stop clinging to what was meant to leave. You stop trying to fit where you don't belong. You stop bending to be accepted. You stop living like an orphan when you are already seated at the table. Do you remember the prodigal? He left the house, not because he hated me, but because he didn't know who he was. He thought he had to run to find freedom. He thought he had to leave to discover purpose. And when he failed, when he broke, when he fell to his knees in a far country, he rehearsed the line, "I'm no longer worthy to be called your son." But what did I do? I ran to him, I embraced him, I called for the ring, the robe, the feast, because identity isn't earned, it's restored. And that's what I want to do for you now. You may be covered in the dust of bad decisions. You may feel the shame of a life that didn't go as planned. You may still hear the voices from your past that said you'd never be more than your mistakes. But I say this, you are not what they said. You are what I have spoken. And what I speak, no one can overrule. I called Abraham father before he had a son. I called David king when he was still a shepherd. I called Peter a rock while he was still unstable. I called Mary favored before she understood the assignment. I define you, not your history, not your habits, not your critics, me, only me. And I say you are more than enough, not because of what you've done, but because of who I am in you. So come out of agreement with the old voices, break covenant with every lie that ever shaped your sense of self, and come into agreement with truth. Say it now. I am who God says I am. Write it, whisper it, let it rise in your spirit like fire. Because once you know who you are, you will stop settling. You will stop apologizing for your fire. You will stop holding back what I put inside you. You will walk in confidence that doesn't shout, it glows. You will stand in rooms you once shrank in. You will speak in spaces you once avoided, because you no longer need to be accepted. You know you're already approved. And when the enemy comes, because he will, with the same old lies dressed in new words, you'll smile. You'll shake your head, and you'll answer with truth. That's not who I am anymore, because the voice of the accuser has no place in the heart of one who knows who they are. You are mine, fully, deeply, eternally mine, and nothing will ever change that. So rise in this identity, own it, live it, and when others don't understand, love them anyway, but don't shrink to fit their comfort. You weren't made to blend in, you were made to shine through. Now that you know who you are, get ready. Because I'm about to open doors that only sons and daughters can walk through, and I want you to step in, not as someone still wondering, but as someone who finally knows you are chosen, you are called, you are loved, you are mine. And the next key I give you will show you how to walk in that identity no matter what surrounds you. That's what comes next. Key 15. My presence is your home. Stay with me. Always you've walked far with me. Step by step, word by word, you've allowed me to shape you, refine you, stretch you, and heal you. You've given me your heart, your thoughts, your voice, your identity. You've stood when it was hard. You've spoken when it was costly. You've said yes, even when you didn't know what the yes would cost. And now, child, I say this. Come home, not in the way the world understands it, but in the way your soul has always longed for. Because the destination of all this isn't a platform. It isn't applause, it isn't clarity, it isn't perfection. The destination is me, my presence. Not as a place you visit when you feel broken, but a home you live in when you feel whole. You were created to walk with me, not just in church, not just in quiet moments, but in every breath, every step, every day. You were made for union, and that union was never meant to be occasional. It was meant to be permanent. This is the key that unlocks the others. My presence is not a place you enter. It's a place you remain. Remain when it's silent. Remain when it's busy. Remain when you feel me strongly. Remain when you don't feel anything at all. Because I'm not a feeling, I'm a father. And I don't come and go based on your emotion. I stay, I remain, I abide. And now I'm asking you to do the same. Stay with me, always. Not as an obligation, but as a rhythm. Not as a rule, but as a relationship. Not out of guilt, but out of love. Because love never wants to be apart. That's why I sent my son, not to start a religion, but to restore relationship, not to teach performance, but to open the door to presence. And that door is still open. The veil is still torn. The invitation still stands. Come in, stay in, live here, not as a guest, as a child. When Jesus said, "Abide in me," he wasn't giving a command, he was giving a secret. Abiding is the secret to peace that doesn't crack. It's the secret to strength that doesn't drain. It's the secret to purpose that doesn't burn out. Because when you live in me, you're no longer running on your own. You're drawing from me, constantly, continually, quietly. You become like a branch that never disconnects. You stop asking, "How can I do more?" and start asking, "How can I stay near?" And from that nearness, everything flows. You will hear me more clearly. You will move more freely. You will love more deeply. Not because you're trying harder, but because you're home. So how do you stay? You stay through attention. You stay by making me part of the ordinary, not just the sacred. You talk to me in the grocery store. You invite me into the meeting. You lean on me in the traffic. You smile at me in the silence. You keep me in the center, not just in the crisis, because I never asked to be your emergency contact. I asked to be your dwelling place. I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, David said. Not visit, dwell. This is what I want for you. Not emotional highs, not religious checklists, just ongoing nearness, like breath, like heartbeat, like rhythm. And when you live like this, the world can't steal your peace. Because your peace doesn't come from circumstances, it comes from communion. It comes from the one who never changes, and you'll begin to notice you no longer fear the silence, because you know I'm there. You no longer dread the unknown, because I've gone ahead. You no longer look around for direction, because your heart has learned to hear my whisper. This is the life I created you for. Not chaotic, not frantic, not dry, but full. Full of my presence, full of my voice, full of my spirit, full of me. So now, I ask for one thing. Stay. Stay when the world tries to pull you back. Stay when distractions scream louder. Stay when you feel unworthy, because your worth was never in question. Stay when your flesh gets tired, because I'll be your strength. Stay even when you wander, and I'll lead you back gently. Stay, and let staying become your secret power. Let dwelling become your default. Let my presence become your peace. Let my nearness become your confidence. Let me be your home. Because this right here was the goal of every key, not just to empower you, not just to ignite you, but to dwell with you. You were never made to visit me. You were made to walk with me. So walk, and don't stop. Live, and don't leave. Dwell, and let me dwell in you. If your spirit is saying yes, even through tears, then say it with me now. Your presence is my home. I will stay with you. Let that be your vow. Let that be your prayer. Let that be the final key you carry for the rest of your life. Because from here on, you are no longer just surviving, you are abiding. You are no longer just learning, you are becoming. You are no longer reaching for me, you are resting in me. And this is just the beginning. I'm not finished with you. I'm just getting started. But now you know where to stay, no matter what comes next, in joy or sorrow, in waiting or fulfillment, in battle or peace. Stay here with me, because I am not a season, I am not a moment, I am your eternal home. Welcome back, child. Let's walk together forever.